the technical staff, when you talk of policies, who is supposed to develop these policies? Why does it take so long? Devolution is now in its 14th, is it 14th year? And we have not developed a policy on depreciation. We have not developed a policy on what? Prepare policy documents and also these policies. Why does it take so long? I mean, what is the problem in just developing depreciation policies and so on? Why does it become a query that these are still in process? And could we know whether this has been done and we are going to get that report in the next financial year, which is 2023-2024? Mr. Chairman, that is...
I want to combine the three questions. Senator Eddy first.
Chair, I don't know who prepared this particular part of the response for the governor, because we have had a problem with this animal called IGRTC, and we want to confront them for once and for all, Governor. But we can only be able to confront them if you have to confront them. So I don't feel like the query was adequately addressed, because, Governor, what I would expect here in a query of non-disclosure of property, plant, and equipment is proper categorization of those plant and equipment and property. I would want to see some rigor in terms of, for instance, if you say that you've procured within the year assets worth 1.2 billion, which are these assets? So that there is also corresponding ownership documents for those that you have procured as a county government, and then I can be able to also be able to trace what is it that the national government still owes, that is still struggling with transfer by IGRTC. Because IGRTC, Governor, has not been doing counties justice. So unless there's that classification and categorization of assets to the proper level, then we can't be able to trace how we properly, deal with this particular query. And this one I write a note, Chair, but I mean it. I think that I know it is constitutionally, provided for, but I think that this animal called IGRTC should actually be replaced with the devolution committee of the Senate. I think the devolution committee can do a better job than what they have done so far. But that said, I wish that there was proper classification of assets and proper numeration of what values are attached to which assets. And for those that you procured, are there ownership documents that you can be able to provide for them?
Senator Mutinda.
Thank you, Chair. I picked my question from the concerns of Senator Oburu when he asked the question of Governor, we need your attention, please. Thank you, sir. Through what Senator Oburu had asked in terms of your team, your management team, coming up with the policies. My question, Chair, further onto the same, and in relation to your committee at the County Assembly, I've looked at the concerns and the observations and the recommendations that they made. And my concern will be to your medical superintendent. I believe it should be Dr. Hongo, although here is not highlighted as doctor, but I believe it should be Dr. Hongo, to tell us why then, even the recommendations that were done by the committee at the County Assembly, recommending the same issues. A register, an asset that is regularly updated. These are the same recommendations that the county has already received So what different do you want us to give even as a committee if your own committee has observed the same and the management, the head of management, Dr. Hongo, with his team, they are not able to follow? I mean, Governor, is there an issue when it comes to capacity with your team? Because, Chair, all these issues have been addressed by the report from the County Assembly, which has been tabled at the Assembly and as well has been adopted. Are we not just repeating ourselves? And hence your team that is supposed to, because even when recommend and Chair gives direction, Governor, it is your team, the management, that should be able to ensure that these things are adhered to. Just an asset registry. That's where my concern is, especially your team.
I attempted to. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe,
Governor.
maybe,
From your
just-
right, let me just
because the
write
questions are many, let him respond to the three.
Earlier,
and then
I
come back to-
attempted to respond to what Senator Mutinda, with respect, is trying to bring out. A lot of the assets, in fact, if you look at the figure in terms of the assets and equipment, which has been recognized, is only 1.2 million shillings. A very, very low figure. In fact, Senator Ketch thought it was 1.2 billion. And that means the only assets that have been procured during the period under review in the name of the hospital is 1.2 million, which are basically computers.
Really?
The rest of the assets are still in the name of the county executive and not the hospital. And that's the difficulty we have dealing with the hospitals. But if you're looking at this as a subsequent of discussions we have had before on the issue of assets, when they were considered to be assets of the county government as opposed to the hospitals, then we'll be dealing with a very different case. Because, for example, I'll give you an example of ambulances. Over the last 2 years, we have bought about 6 ambulances. You will not find them in the asset register because they were purchased by the executive, as opposed to the computers which were purchased by the hospitals. So, and I was trying to appreciate the fact that now that the hospitals are being audited as separate entities, then the county, willy-nilly, will have to have separate registers for these assets for individual hospitals, instead of them being held as assets of the county executive. Because if you were to look at the register of property, although the same problems apply, but if you look at the register of properties of the county executive, you'll find a lot of assets, including ambulances and plant and equipment. Even the MEC equipment is basically in the name of the county executive. So we are under
The 13 acres of the hospital, what is the problem? Just physical survey and getting a
No,
title?
it's not as easy as that. In fact, in the entire CIA county, we're having difficulties, getting land registered in the name of the county. And we're pursuing. We have a lot of land even in CIA town itself. For example, we have a land which we have gone to the Ministry of Lands in relation to Jaramogi Odinga University. They've got a campus in Siaya of nearly 70 acres. Now, getting title is not very easy. I've been a minister for lands, and I know what it entails. Now, when it comes to the Intergovernmental Technical Relations Committee, that's a huge problem. In the Council of Governors, is a huge problem. And it is an annual problem, and in almost every meeting of IBEC. And I think there's some resistance, as it were. Even transferring a vehicle. For example, my Minister for Health here, it drives a GK. Yet it's a vehicle which was given to the county as part of the handover. But just getting that vehicle changed to the county is very difficult. There's a bureaucratic kind of logjam that we have. And I think it's one of the problems we still have with devolution, because those who are holding these assets are very reluctant to have those assets registered in the name of the counties. And it affects development. We have been going through a process of trying to look for land for affordable housing, for example, for markets. And you have land, you don't have title, then it becomes very difficult to undertake development. But where we can, we are resolving those problems. But I agree with Senator Okech. This is something that the Senate must, of necessity, be involved in the conversation, because the Intergovernmental Technical Committee is long overdue. Now it is about 15 years. And that process of transfer is not complete. And it's not unique to CI. I think it's in every county, including Nairobi.
I think let me give it to